The knock was heavy, not a neighbor's tap. Federal marshals and news vans had descended on Dorothy's quiet porch.
Please, God, don't let it be one of my boys in trouble.
Miss Dorothy, I am Special Agent Mills. We're conducting a federal background investigation.
The investigation was for a Supreme Court nominee, a man who listed her as his mother on every legal form since 1998.
A Supreme Court nominee? Which one of my boys got tangled up in that?
Judge Samuel Joseph, the one you taught to read when no one else would.
Joseph, the boy who stuttered so bad he couldn't say his own name.
She had taught him to read at 11. He stopped writing letters years ago, and now he was a Supreme Court nominee who'd claimed her as his mother.
I thought he'd forgotten me, after all these years.
But he hadn't forgotten. He had returned, and what he was about to ask her would shake the nation.
Is he in trouble, Agent? Why are you really here?
No trouble, ma'am. This is routine for nominations, but I can't disclose specifics.
But he stopped writing 20 years ago. Why now?
That's not something I can answer. The investigation is confidential.
The marshals handed her a card and departed, leaving Dorothy alone on the porch with a history she thought was buried. Inside, the hallway held 7 framed school portraits. Her boys, each one nobody wanted.
Joseph, the quiet one who couldn't meet your eyes.
Her fingers traced the glass over his 13-year-old face, the one who'd stopped writing without a goodbye. She remembered the day he arrived, 11 years old, clutching a duffel bag labeled unadoptable, and how she had knelt beside him that very night and begun to teach him the letters. It was 1985. A social worker's sedan pulled up to Dorothy's house. The boy in the back seat was 11, silent, clutching a duffel bag.
This one's a tough case, Miss Dorothy. Can't read, won't talk. They've labeled him unadoptable.
He's not a case file. He's a child who needs someone to believe in him.
Inside, the boy sat on the very edge of the floral couch, eyes fixed on the floor. Dorothy placed a warm mug beside him.
You're safe here, baby. Nobody's giving up on you. Not ever.
That night, a faint rustling woke her. In the living room, Joseph crouched over a picture book, his lips forming silent, broken shapes.
C can't make the sounds come out.
She knelt beside him, took the book, and began to read aloud, tracing each letter with her finger.
See this letter? It says, "Ah, now you try, baby. Ah."
That was the first night of 3 years, and Joseph never missed a single one. Every night for 3 years they sat together. Slowly, the broken sounds became words, then sentences, then whole worlds.
The letters don't scare me now. She made them make sense.
At 14, Joseph won a school essay contest. The topic, "The Person I Most Admire." He wrote about Dorothy.
Look at you, baby. Reading to the whole school.
He graduated high school at 18, the first of her boys to do so. Then came the letters from college, pages full of thanks. One letter read, "You gave me words, Mama D. I'll never stop writing you." But after 2 years, the letters stopped. No warning, no goodbye. Dorothy kept the last one in a box, waiting for an answer that never came.
What did I do wrong? Why did my boy forget me?
She never opened that box again, until today, when federal marshals spoke his name.
He's been in the world all this time, and now he needs me. But why?
The news van still idled at the curb. Inside, Dorothy sat with the box of letters, thinking of the other 6 boys who'd found their way back, all except Joseph.
Andre came home. Marcus called every Sunday. But Joseph, he just disappeared.
A car door slammed outside. Her heart seized.
Another reporter. Lord, give me strength.
But when she rose and peered through the window, it wasn't a reporter. It was Joseph. Navy suit, no cameras, alone, holding a folded document.
After 22 years, my boy is standing on my walk.
He walked toward the porch, his steps hesitant but deliberate, the same gait she remembered from when he was 11.
What does he want from me now?
Her hand trembled on the doorknob. She didn't wait for his knock. She opened the door just as he reached the top step, their eyes locked. In his, she saw the boy who once couldn't meet her gaze, but now there was something else, an apology she couldn't yet name. He opened his mouth, his jaw tightened. The stutter he'd beaten as a child surged back, raw and uninvited.
Mama D.
Oh, my baby.
She stepped forward and wrapped her arms around his trembling frame, pulling him into the house that had always been his sanctuary. They stood in the doorway, clinging to each other, tears mixing on his suit jacket as the news vans outside fell irrelevant.
Come in, baby. Sit with me.
He let her lead him to the sofa, his legs unsteady, collapsing onto the cushions, like a man whose spine had just given out.
I am sorry. I am so sorry, Mama D.
You don't owe me sorry, child. You owe me the truth.
Joseph took a breath, his hands still unsteady, and finally let the words fall.
I need you to sit behind me at the confirmation hearing, as my mother.
Washington? Me? Joseph, I've never even been on a plane.
I told them I won't take my seat unless you are there. They can't make me. I was afraid, Mama D. Afraid you'd still see that stuttering boy who couldn't read. I had to become someone first.
Dorothy reached for his hand, her thumb tracing the same knuckles that once clutched a picture book.
You were always someone, Joseph, even when you couldn't say it.
Then come sit where the world will see. Please. I need them to know who made me.
Lord, how do an old woman go stand before the whole country?
She didn't say yes. Not yet, but she didn't let go of his hand.
Why did you stop writing, Joseph, after all those letters?
The question hung between them. He looked away, jaw tight, the familiar shame flooding back.
Every year I thought, once I am a judge, once I am worthy. Then I'll come see you, then I'll come see you. But I was never enough.
He admitted he'd been keeping tabs from a distance for years, too afraid to face her.
I never needed a judge, Joseph. I just needed my boy.
I was so scared you'd see that same broken boy who couldn't read.
She pulled him close, his shoulders shaking against her, the 20-year silence finally breaking open.
I'll go, baby. I'll sit right behind you where everybody can see.
He clutched her hand, a wet laugh escaping him, the weight of years lifting slightly. But somewhere in the back of her mind, a small question remained. What else hadn't he told her? To chase away the heaviness, Dorothy rose and brought out the old shoebox of letters.
Look at how you wrote then. All squiggles and hope and misspelled words.
I could barely spell my own name. You never corrected me, just kept reading.
She pulled out the school portrait from the box, the twin of the one on the wall.
You are all still with me. Every one of my 7 boys.
He walked to the hallway wall and touched the glass over his 13-year-old face.
Take it, this picture, so you never forget where you started.
He slid the photograph carefully into his nomination document, a piece of home pressed against the law.
There's something else I need to tell you, Mama D, but not tonight.
A shadow crossed her face, but she nodded and let it go, the unspoken secret settling like an unanswered prayer. The next morning, a knock. Not the press. Agent Mills stood alone on the porch, his expression unreadable.
Ma'am, the background check turned up something unusual. These are your property tax records.
He handed her a file, deep inside. A trust document, anonymous, ironclad, signed by a young law clerk named Samuel Joseph, 22 years ago.
For over 2 decades, a trust in Judge Joseph's name has been paying your property taxes, routed through a firm to look like a county exemption.
All those years I prayed over those tax bills, thinking the Lord made a way, and it was my boy.
She could barely breathe. The county exemption she'd accepted as grace was actually his silent, unyielding love. Then Joseph walked in, still in yesterday's suit, his face crumbling the moment he saw the papers in her lap.
22 years, Joseph. You've been holding up this roof and never said a word. Why?
He sank onto the couch, his shoulders rounding, the weight of hidden years collapsing him back into the frightened 11-year-old.
I couldn't give you much. I was so ashamed I couldn't do more. I didn't want you to ever feel beholden to me.
She lowered herself beside him, her joints complaining, and took his trembling hand in both of hers.
A gift given in secret is still a gift, Joseph, but it hurt not knowing.
I was terrified it would tarnish what you gave me, that if you knew, your love would feel like a debt.
You think I don't know the difference between a debt and a son's love?
He searched her face, looking for the disappointment he'd always feared. But her eyes held only the same patient love that had taught him to read.
Is there anything else you've been carrying, baby? Any more secrets?
None, Mama D. Nothing left, I swear it.
She pulled his head to her shoulder, and he wept the way he hadn't. Since he was a child, the dam finally empty.
I love you more for it, Joseph. More than I ever did.
The tax file slipped to the floor, forgotten. In its place rose something stronger, a lifelong debt finally repaid with truth. A few days later, Dorothy sat in the salon chair, letting the hot comb press decades of weariness into quiet dignity.
Lord, I am just a foster mom from Memphis. What business do I have in Washington?
She stepped into her best floral Sunday dress, the one saved for extraordinary Sundays, and studied the stranger in the mirror. A neighbor pressed a worn Bible into her hands, along with a handkerchief embroidered with a single cross. She tucked them against her heart. As the black car pulled away, the whole block lined the sidewalk, waving as if she were already someone they'd seen on television.
Joseph's picture and his last letter. That's all I need to carry with me.
At the airport, a young White House liaison met her at the gate, addressing her like visiting royalty.
Terrified, yes, but also chosen. As if the Lord handed me a seat I never asked for.
The plane lifted off, and she gripped the Bible in her lap, knuckles pale against the worn leather. Somewhere over the clouds, she whispered his name, Joseph, and believed, finally, that he had never stopped needing her. Washington glowed through the hotel window. The Capitol dome, lit like a promise, seemed to hold its breath.
Tomorrow, I sit behind my boy in that building. Lord, don't let me shame him.
Her phone buzzed. Joseph's voice strained through a distance heavier than the miles.
Mama D. I feel like I am back in that living room, the letters swimming on the page. What if I can't find the words tomorrow?
You listen to me. You are not that boy anymore. You are the man who built a life out of nothing but that book. Now you speak for the forgotten. That's who you are.
That boy is still in here, Mama D. But he never had your voice until now.
She ended the call and stared at her reflection in the dark window, an old woman who had once been a young mother to 7. Morning broke clean. She stepped into a navy suit. Her boys, all 7, had each sent a little money to buy it.
My boys, all my boys are with me now.
She placed the portrait in her pocket and stepped out to the car that would take her to history. The hearing room swallowed her. Marble columns, a soaring ceiling, and a row of senators who looked at her like she'd wandered into the wrong theater.
Don't you dare lower your head, Dorothy. You earned this seat. Every sleepless night earned it.
Then Joseph entered. He walked past his chair, paused without turning, and squeezed her hand. His knuckles were white. The chairman's gavel echoed. Cameras hummed. The nation's most scrutinized voice called the hearing to order.
Judge Joseph, your record is extensive, but I am interested in your character. Some of your early rulings have been described as lenient. How do you square that?
I believe in second chances, Senator. The law should not forever, punish those who have changed.
That's my boy. The words are there, just like they were when he was 11.
Whitfield leaned forward, sensing a crack. And who taught you these second chances, Judge? The room tensed. Joseph opened his mouth, then closed it. For a heartbeat, he was 12 again, letters dancing away. Dorothy's hand moved to her pocket, over the portrait. She willed her voice into his mind, the way she had every night for 3 years. Joseph drew a breath, and the stutter that had threatened to surface dissolved into the disciplined cadence of a seasoned jurist.
I believe in second chances, Senator, because I am the product of one.
The hearing pressed on, senators probing his judicial philosophy, his decisions on juvenile offenders, his unwavering belief in rehabilitation over punishment.
When I was 11, I was labeled unteachable, a child with no future.
Hold on, baby. You are not that boy anymore.
Senator Whitfield watched him for a long moment. Then she laid her pen down, the click echoing through the silent room.
I have one final question for you, Judge. Not about your jurisprudence.
She paused, her voice softening in a way that made the cameras creep closer. About your life, about who made you.
Lord, give him the words.
Dorothy's hand pressed flat against the portrait in her pocket. She could feel his heartbeat through the years.
Judge Joseph, as my final question, who taught you the purpose of the law?
Silence swallowed the room. And then, slowly, Joseph turned in his chair. He lifted his arm and pointed directly at the woman in the third row, the one whose hand was pressed over a school portrait.
My mother. She taught me to read when everyone gave up. She taught me that law exists to lift up the forgotten.
For a heartbeat, the room was stone. Then it erupted, a collective gasp, the sound of cameras zooming, a senator's gavel forgotten.
He did it. After all these years, my boy found the words.
For just that singular moment, before the nation picked it apart, there was only a mother and her son, connected across a courtroom like they once were, across a living room.
That's my baby.
The hearing was not yet over, but everyone present understood. They had just witnessed the heart of the law open itself to the public.
Lord, I don't know what comes next, but he already gave me more than I ever asked.
Within minutes, the clip flooded every screen. Bars fell silent. Phones vibrated in offices. Families paused dinner to watch. A chyron blazed beneath his frozen image. Nominee points to foster mother. She taught me the law.
I think that answers all my questions.
The chairman's gavel fell not in command, but in surrender. The hearing adjourned to a rising ovation. Joseph stood, turned, and moved toward the railing. Without a word, he reached for her. She rose and let him pull her into an embrace that spanned decades, a son holding the woman who had held him when the world wouldn't.
This is what I waited for. Not the Supreme Court. Just this.
Reporters scrambled, flashbulbs popping, but for one long, sacred minute, neither of them noticed.
You done good, baby. You done real good.
The nation had already decided. But the vote was yet to come, and with it, the final seal on a debt paid in secret, and now declared in public. That afternoon, the Senate roll call closed. The tally burst onto every screen. Confirmed, 68 to 32. Judge Samuel Joseph was now Justice Samuel Joseph. Joseph rose for brief remarks, his voice, once trapped behind a stutter, now steady and clear, carrying to the highest court.
I stand here because of the woman who gave me back my voice. She taught me that the law must lift up the forgotten.
He turned and motioned toward the gallery, toward the silver-haired woman whose hand was still pressed over a school portrait in her pocket.
Every night, by that lamp. Every word we sounded out. This is why.
Senators and clerks and pages rose to their feet, and the applause was not for the court, but for the mother who had built it.
Look what the Lord can do with a 2-bedroom house and a stubborn faith.
Joseph gazed up at her, his own face wet, and for a moment he was just a boy again, seeing his mother for the first time, the way the world now did.
Mama D.
The gavel fell for the new justice, but the day belonged entirely to the woman who had made him, and who had finally been seen. The Capitol doors burst open to a wall of cameras. Joseph wrapped an arm around Dorothy, shielding her from the screaming reporters. He guided her through the flashing gauntlet with the same fierce protection she once used, to block the world from a frightened boy. Inside the limousine, the doors sealed them from the noise. For the first time in hours, they breathed. He reached into his briefcase and withdrew a simple black frame. Inside, his nomination document, the Supreme Court seal glinting. A brass plate at the bottom held an inscription. To my mother. I told you I'd make you proud. Her fingers traced the engraved letters. Her vision swimming. She couldn't speak. Joseph squeezed her hand and found the words that had always been the most difficult.
Let's go home. Mama D.
The limousine pulled away from the Capitol, the dome shrinking in the tinted window as the city gave way to the road ahead. There were still things left unfinished, but for now, the The quiet stretch of road was enough. Weeks later, on a quiet Saturday morning in Memphis, a pickup truck pulled up to Dorothy's house, its bed loaded with fresh lumber and shingles. The driver's door opened, and Joseph stepped out. Not in a Navy suit, but in worn jeans and a work shirt, his hands already dusted with sawdust. Dorothy came to the porch, her coffee mug paused midair, brow furrowed in disbelief.
Joseph, what on earth are you doing?
You need a new porch roof. Mama D, I am installing it myself. No cameras, no press, just me and you.
You are a Supreme Court justice now. You don't need to be climbing on my roof.
But he was already halfway up the ladder, hammer in hand, the morning sun catching the gray at his temples.
You gave me a roof and a home when nobody else would. Let me give you one back.
22 years of silent tax payments. And now he's putting a roof over my head himself. Lord, this boy.
The first hammer strikes landed, a steady rhythm that matched her heartbeat, rebuilding more than just shingles. Around noon, Dorothy emerged with a pitcher of lemonade and 2 glasses, condensation beating in the Memphis humidity. He climbed down, sweat and sawdust on his face, and they sat on the porch steps like they had decades ago when the world was smaller.
I've tracked down the other boys. Andre, Marcus, Terrell. They're all coming for a visit soon.
All my boys under one roof. The Lord is too good.
I am starting a foundation in your name, Mama D, for literacy programs and foster families.
You don't need to put my name on anything. I just did what needed doing.
It's not for you, it's for every kid who was like me.
She reached up and touched his face, seeing not the justice or the fundraiser, but the boy who once couldn't read cat. The afternoon wore on. As the sun dipped low, Joseph drove the last nail into the new porch roof. The structure was firm now, a roof that would last long after both of them, built by hands that had once been too small to hold a pencil. A few weeks later, Dorothy sat on her new porch, a gentle breeze carrying the scent of fresh-cut wood. A car she didn't recognize pulled to the curb. 3 men stepped out. Andre, Marcus, and Terrell, their faces older now but unmistakably the boys in the hallway portraits. Dorothy rose, her hand flying to her chest, not believing her eyes.
We figured it was time. We all came home, Mama D.
The screen door opened and Joseph stepped out, wiping his hands on a rag, a knowing smile on his face. They gathered around her, laughing and crying, arms draping over shoulders, the years falling away like old paint.
My boys, all my boys.
Someone produced a camera, and they arranged themselves on the porch steps, jostling for space just as they had for that first photograph decades ago. But this time, every face was smiling, not the stiff, uncertain grins of children, but the deep, earned joy of men who had found their way back. Dorothy looked at her boys, her life's work, and felt every sleepless night, every prayer, every unpaid bill had been worth it.